Hey everyone, thanks for checking out my broadcast today. It is day number 345 of my 3-year challenge to lose 300 pounds. If this is your first time checking out my broadcast, a little bit about me. My name is Jonathan. I'm 39 years old. I'm married and have 4 children. I've been overweight my whole life, and I started this channel to kind of record me pulling hair out of my mouth to record my progress and kind of my weight loss here. So uh, the big things when I decided to start this challenge is that I wanted to focus on the amount of time it was going to take to lose the weight and to change my habits and to kind of overhaul everything. And so that's why I challenged myself to make my weight or losing weight or my health a focus for 3 years. And uh, so far, I'm only 20 days away from the first year, and I feel amazing at 315 pounds. I never would have imagined uh, that I would be 315 pounds after uh, this past year. So, but even with the weight loss, I still have more to go, and I also am gonna have to find out how to maintain that weight loss once I get down to that weight I want to be at. And then the other big thing is that I need to lose a lot of weight, and so uh, I kind of challenged myself to lose more weight than I've ever tried to lose before or ever considered losing before. Even in high school, I never considered trying to get down under 220 pounds or down to 220 pounds. So uh, I really wanted to uh, focus on, getting to a much healthier weight than I've ever been. In the past, I've lost weight and I've gotten down to 300 pounds, or I've lost, good amount of weight, but I've never gotten down to a weight that would be considered anywhere close to healthy. 220 pounds is still probably considered heavy, but um, we'll see when I get there how it goes. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your guys' non-scale victories. If you guys have any questions, anything like that, love to hear that as well. I hope you guys all had a great weekend. I had a fairly busy weekend. I wasn't sure how busy it was going to be, but it ended up being pretty busy overall. Friday night, I can't remember if we did much, anything special, but I know Saturday was a busy day for me, and then uh, Sunday as well ended up being pretty busy overall. I'm kind of blanking on some of Sunday what we did, just because I think I was just so worn out from Saturday, just because it was a long day Saturday. We ended up the we had an event where we needed to set up at it was like a 5K run that had like a concert after it, and we had Carrie says she gave away some clothing today. The items were too big and you're never going to be that size again. Friday night was a birthday party. Yes. Okay. So there we go. That helps fill in the blanks with me. So we'll go Friday night. It was nice going to a birthday party, kind of hanging out with some other adults, having our kids run around and play. Uh, we ended up just kind of, uh, yeah, just hanging out, I guess, in the house. But, the one thing I would say is the chairs that they had, I believe, in the kitchen. If I'm not mistaken, Carrie might correct me, but they were some folding chairs. The people that we were hanging out with are moving, and so they didn't have much of their furniture left in the house. They just a few things, but so the kitchen chairs were like a folding chair that uh in the past I would have been much more leery. uh Maybe that's okay. Okay, that's what it was. Wasn't that I would have been leery about them. It would have been I wouldn't have fit in them. That's what it was about the chairs on Friday. They were the metal sided patio chairs that have like a mesh backing. Um, a couple things that I would have been concerned about in the past would have been the fact that I wouldn't have fit like side right to left. I would have my uh, side fat would have made it very difficult for me to fit in the chairs. And then I also would have been worried about damaging their wood floor with the chairs. I was still a little bit worried about that. It would not have been my choice of chairs to have if I had some wood floors. Uh, they're moving out, so they probably don't care that much. People moving in would probably care a little bit more. But yeah, so just having the ability to sit in those chairs comfortably is constantly a non-scale victory for me, because anybody who's been 500 pounds knows that you have to pick your battles when it comes to seating sometimes. And it's really nice to be able to sit more comfortably or sit without issue. Another place, there's a pavilion where my kid does his Boy Scouts, and they have these metal picnic tables that I uh I mean I barely fit in them now, but at 500 pounds, I would try to sit like with my legs not underneath the picnic side, and then the whole table would like tip up from the other side. So and it still kind of does that at this weight, but that was something. I think we had Cub Scouts last Thursday night. That was I had to deal with that there. So just overall, it's nice to be able to fit into these chairs better than I could a year ago. We had a good night though, hanging out with that on Friday, and then um Saturday we had an event, and I don't know. I don't share a whole lot, I guess, about what I do and different things, but we had we have a restroom trailer that we set up at an event, and it has to kind of be manned just to make sure that the doors get locked and nobody walks in on each other, and it's not anything. It's like as everybody at the event kind of says, is these are the nicest porta potties I've ever used. And so uh we had a my brother was helping set up a 5K charity run, and we set up the restroom chair trailer at the charity run because they had a concert afterwards and they needed some bathrooms. And so we set that up for them. It worked out really well. The people loved having the bathrooms there. They were uh it's something new that I've this is like the second time or third, depending on how you want to count as far as setting up the trailer. I've set up the trailer a lot of times, but the number of events that I've done has been very minimal. And we're going to be actually winterizing that soon, and then next summer hoping to rent out this restroom trailer. So if you're in the Midwest, anywhere near Eastern Iowa, and you're looking to rent out portable restroom trailer, let me know. Um, but one of the things the where the event was downtown in the city, and I talked about last week that I didn't do a Foz feast this weekend, and I'm not going to do those, or I'm not going to do that type of thing for a while again. If I do any type of eating, it's not going to be food that's off my diet or off the diet that we had been on. I'm gonna kind of refocus on sticking with my diet as much as possible. If there's an occasion where it comes up where it's unavoidable, I'm not going to beat myself up over it. But the uh uh the one of the things I mentioned that we had not had or tried in the weekends that I did these things was a vegan pizza. And there's a restaurant that's very close to where we were downtown that makes vegan pizzas. And so we decided that because the event was doing food, like they catered barbecue for the people that were running, and I honestly don't know if they had a fruit. They had bananas. I know they definitely have bananas. But other than that, I don't know that they had much for food that would have been um, edible or anything that we could have eaten. And so I decided that we should order some pizza from this place that's near us. And we ended up getting two pizzas from the restaurant and sharing them, because that was another thing about doing the Foz feast, was that I was eating these foods, but then Carrie didn't really get a chance to try them. And with the pizza, I definitely know that she was wanting to try a vegan pizza. So if I were to have done that, I would have either have had to have saved some of that, or um, it just wouldn't have worked out well. So I figured it worked out best that we just try the vegan pizza on our own, just kind of something that we shared together. And Carrie says that they did have apples and water there as well as the bananas. Um, but what we ended up doing is we ended up ordering two pizzas because we just wanted to go wild on it. No, but they had a couple different types. The first one that Carrie was very interested in and actually was amazing was the it was a taco pizza. And so it ended up that the regular taco pizza, I assume, uses Doritos or some sort of nacho cheese chips, but we ended up getting what they called vegan chips, which is pretty much just crushed up tortilla chips on there. But there was lettuce and tomato. Um, there was a vegan meat on there. I'm not sure if it was considered a chicken or a beef, but it was flavored. Um, the taco pizza is something that's kind of common around here. There's a place that is very popular around here that kind of tries to claim that they're the originators of the taco pizza. And so it's something that I've had a lot of taco pizzas over the years or whatever, just from that being one of the common things, or one of the things people like to get from there. And this pizza tasted amazing. The flavors, I mean, there's so much more to a taco pizza than just the crust and the cheese, the tomato, the lettuce, and the chips. Those are kind of the same as would have been on a regular taco pizza. The crust was really good that they use on this pizza. It was very good crust as well. Um, the And then they had a hot sauce that they provided that was like, I mean, I think it might have been like a special hot sauce, or like considered a vegan hot sauce. I don't know if there's issues with hot sauces being vegan or not, but there was like a little mark on the containers. Um and the hot sauce really made it taste great as well. It kind of overall, it was like I said, it was as good of pizza a taco pizza as a regular taco pizza. Like the only thing I would have added, Carrie would have hated, but I would have put olives on there because I really like it with like green or black olives on it. But Carrie would have hated that. We would never have those on there. And then the other pizza we got, because we were hoping the kids would try some, and they did a little bit, but they had other food there that they were eating. And that was a half sausage and half just regular cheese pizza. It was really interesting to see how the cheese melted different, or it looked different on the half that didn't have the sausage or meat or the vegan sausage on it. This pizza was really good. It was the cheeses I had not had before. Um it the the first bites I took of like the sausage pizza with that cheese, it actually kind of reminded me a little bit of like a school pizza. The aftertaste and kind of the rest of the flavor wasn't quite the same, but like I said, that kind of initial feel of it and taste of it kind of reminded me of that. Carrie says really stinking good. I loved it. I believe she's talking about the taco pizza. I know she liked this pizza as well because she ate some of it too. But I liked both of these flavors kind of for different reasons. The The cheese pizza seemed just real easy to eat and not like there was a lot to it. But I really liked the flavor of it. But I did like the sausage more than just the sausage uh, over the just plain cheese pizza. Um, I mean, it's tough to say whether or not I wouldn't say that they are perfect replacements for regular pizza. The taco pizza, I would get that, and that would replace a regular pizza. The sausage, I kind of wish I would have gotten it with mushrooms on it, um, or onions. I wish I would have gotten more vegetables on this pizza. I guess is what I wish, which is never a thing that I would have said a year ago. Like, I mean, I would get supreme pizzas and I would get pizzas with vegetables on them, but I would never say, "Hey, let's add some more vegetables to that pizza that doesn't have vegetables on it." That would not be something. So, um, but those pizzas were great. It was nice to try them. Again, it was one of those things where it was like it scratched an itch. I wanted to know how vegan pizzas tasted. I tasted some vegan pizzas, so I can kind of say I've done that, and I don't necessarily need to do it again. Uh, that is kind of the best I can with that. The this whole month, this last 3 weeks has been interesting because I did the vegan breakfast and then the vegan lunch foods and then these vegan pizzas. And I'm so happy that I did what I did. I'm happy that I went and took the time, or went and had some breakfast items, like had a variety of things over a long period of time. I didn't like back to back consecutively, try, the items. It gave me a bit of a chance to go back into our diet, kind of deviate from the diet and then go back into it and see how it made my body react. And I would say I probably got a little bit gassier from this pizza. Um, and but as far as upset stomach or having any like digestive issues, I had none with kind of adding those things into my diet. Um, I don't know that I could have had, like I think that uh it's just kind of interesting because it's the that food, that pizza looks so different than anything that I have eaten in the past 11 months, but it's not really that different than what I've eaten in the past 11 months. It's still kind of based off of, you know, plant foods or made from plants and not from products. Um, but yeah, that was kind of a treat that we kind of gave ourselves on Saturday and shared it between us and the family and had, and it was nice to, and also my brother is helped out with setting up the trailer. He is been eating a vegan diet longer than I have. He was actually, before I started this, he was telling me I should do it. And I told him that he was crazy. I was never going to go vegan, that I'd absolutely always have to have meat in my diet. And now I am the one that is like, dude, you got to cut back on your diet. Like I'm more strict about my diet than he's been about his diet. So it's kind of an interesting, kind of how that works. But at the same time, I kind of got him into Ironman or not doing triathlons, and he's way more into doing the triathlons than I ended up being. I had fun with it, and it was nice, but not looking to sign up for my next one. Let's see. Saturday event went great. It was. I wished Carrie would have been uh, with me Saturday night because I hadn't been out in a while. Like, I don't know, it's weird. And be out by myself was even kind of more, um hold on. So Carrie says, I kind of wish eating the oil, etc., caused her more digestional issues to prevent her from wanting that stuff or that, yeah, like, and my friend kind of talked about that with his diet that he, and I think everybody gets there where kind of deviate from your diet and then you weigh yourself the next day and you're still 2 pounds lighter than you were the day before, even after you had all that junk food that day. And you start to kind of convince yourself that, well, I ate that junk food and I still lost 2 pounds. And it's like, well, it doesn't really, it takes time for kind of those swings to happen, like you're given a false sense of security. And I think that kind of is with eating these things, like we are given a false sense of that we can handle that, or that it's not going, because there was a fear, because I fasted for a very long time. I had some electrolytes during that time, but then we switched to a no salt, oil, or sugar diet. And so, as far as salt content prior to that standpoint, and now that I'm thinking about it, it's even crazier. But like from November 1st till 3 weeks ago, I mean, there was some sodium in the miso that we have, and there might have been accidental sodiums and things, but it, it, I would have been as sodium depleted as I've ever been. And so adding that sodium back in would, I had a fear that I was gonna just balloon up. And I do kind of feel like I have kind of absorbed some water, and like my ankles sometimes feel a little more swollen again, or, like that's I don't want to feel that way. And so that's kind of part of the reason why I'm not doing the Foz feast right now anymore too. Carrie said, good thing the pizza was very expensive and not located near our house yet. It takes a good half hour plus to get there. And might I, I'd be confident in saying it was the two most expensive bought. Like, I mean, we've gone to some places where I bought something in Spain that was probably pretty expensive, but I don't know what it cost. It was like a calzone pizza thing. But yeah, the those two pizzas were probably the two most expensive pizzas I've ever bought. But I was gonna get into so Saturday night, uh, it was crazy. Since I've met Carrie, I haven't really been to the bars or been out at night, or like I've gone to a concert with Carrie, or we've done some things, or we've gone out to dinner with another couple. Uh, but like it was, I ended up having to stay at that event. And unfortunately, when you have the restrooms, you're kind of one of the first people that has to be set up and one of the last people to leave. And so I ended up definitely being the last one out of there. Um, but uh, just kind of, I found a little time to just kind of walk around and check out the concert for a minute. And just people watch. And it was just interesting because I kind of, in the moment, I had just kind of realized that I hadn't been out to any environment like that in a really long time. And like I used to go to bars and stuff, and I used to have some friends that were in a band, and I'd go to their concerts, and it was kind of interesting seeing the band that played. Most of the crowd that was there for the band by the end. There was 20 people that were like right up on stage cheering, kind of making a loud, production of it. But it was interesting because I know that us having kids has prevented us from going out and doing those things or going to bars. Um, but I think that for me, my size has been a huge part of why I haven't gone out like stuff. Like, and I have had, uh, so I have a friend of mine that he's in a relationship, but he doesn't have any young kids. So he goes out to bars a lot more than I am. And I always kind of think it's crazy, or I don't know what I think of it. I guess it's just, it seems, it's one of those things where like I just felt like I haven't had time to go to bars, or I haven't gone to bars. And so anyways, um the yeah, and Carrie says here some of her friends were there with their kids partying it up. Wish we, that they could have stayed. But we were trying to stay ahead of the meltdowns with the kids, and it was a super busy day. And they live not, I don't know how close they lived to there, but we lived further away, I imagine. And um but yeah, like our kids get a year or two older, our youngest kids, and we could have them stay up that late and not really worry about them freaking out on the way home or having an issue with, yeah, on the way home. And it was a busy day. But uh it's just interesting that like I felt like I fit in more um than I would have before. And again, I wouldn't have put myself in this scenario. I wouldn't have had the restroom trailer, or, like a year ago, none of this was even part of uh my life. So to have um but yeah, so it was just interesting. I'd like to get out and do stuff, and right now it's kind of one of those things where it requires getting babysitters. Our kind of older kids are getting almost old enough to watch the younger kids, and as those younger kids get older, it'll be easier to do that. Um, and and I'm kind of excited about it, thinking about like going out to a concert with Carrie. Like there was a cover band for this band that called Cake. Carrie loves this band called Cake, if you've ever heard of them. There's a cover band locally that was playing um, at a bar. And we were like, okay, let's go to this cover band. And we loaded all the kids up and we got there, and the place was just packed. I mean, I'd never been there before. I'm sure there's a fairly large area for people to hang out, but every parking spot they had somebody in it. They had like a gravel side lot that almost all of that was full, or it would have been quarter-mile walk from there to get to the front door. And so we kind of pulled an audible and said, hey, let's this instead of this concert, because it was going to be a huge pain with the four kids to go to this concert. Had it been just me and Carrie, yeah, we absolutely would have just parked the car and we would have gone to the concert. We would have figured it out. And we wouldn't have done that a year ago. Like we wouldn't even like yeah. Like Carrie would have probably tried to get me to go, and we might have gone because she really likes cake. But not the well, she really likes both the food and sorry, babe. Um, but yeah, but that's something that absolutely I can see us doing that now. I couldn't see us doing that a year ago, or I wouldn't have looked forward to us doing that a year ago. And I'm kind of realizing that there is a lot of living that we haven't been doing too, because of my hermit status at home. Um, the other big thing from the week, got a fly, just got a death wish. He's just bugging me. Um, I ended up on Sunday. I had gone up, and I guess how much backstory I give. I don't know how much I talked about this in the past, but I used to wrestle a lot growing up. From the time I was in first grade till I was a freshman in college, I wrestled uh, competitively, or I wrestled uh, in youth programs and wrestled at the high school level. And and then actually my sophomore year of college, I went back and I helped coach at the high school that I wrestled at for a year. Actually, while my little brother, um, Carrie says, I agree. Let's find some babysitters, man. We have the babysitters. They just need to get older, is what I was. Once 10-year-old can be trusted to make sure that the other ones survive, then it's all easy. So, anyways, wrestling. I wrestled a lot as a kid. I went to wrestling camps. I traveled all over the country to wrestle. It was a big part of my life. I did fairly well at the high school level. I placed fourth in the state of Iowa my junior year. My senior year, I had some issues with injuries. I did go to state, but I didn't end up placing at state. And anyways, so wrestling was a big part of my life, and I haven't done much with wrestling since that kind of sophomore year in college when I helped coach the high school wrestling team. Uh the last I really had much with wrestling was I did take my son up to the wrestling room when he was 5-ish, 4 or 5-ish, and he did all right, but not great. I was not in the best shape of my life at the time. It was probably in the 400s, I guess, as far as weight. I was probably over 375, I bet, because the last time I'd lost weight was 2013, and it would have been 2 years, 3 years. Anyways, um, so he didn't really take to it, and it's something where we just didn't stick with it. So I had kind of been up to the room but not done any wrestling uh 2 years back. And then my brother, actually two of my brothers coach, but one of my brothers is like, actually I guess they're both assistant coaches, but um my brothers help out with the wrestling team as assistant coaches. They have access to the wrestling room. I was talking to one of them about wrestling, and their season's getting ready to start, and he was kind of like, well, I need to get in shape because, or a little bit better shape, because the season's going to get started. If you want to come over or up to the wrestling room, we can kind of uh just kind of see how it goes. And so yesterday I ended up going up to the wrestling room with him. It was really uh a great experience overall. I'm glad that I went and did it. The um it's weird because it brings back a lot of memories just going back into the high school building, because I did a lot of athletics in high school and I spent a lot of time in high school. Uh but I haven't been there for 20 years. And um so the building's got all kinds of new stuff. In fact, the wrestling room that we wrestled in isn't even the same room that we used to do our practices in. They still have that room, but they have a nicer mat in the new gym. And uh it was kind of cool because it was very soft, and it what that ended up allowing me to do was to kind of run around the room more than uh I've run since the triathlon. Like, since the triathlon, I haven't hardly ran at all, and I didn't really technically run much during the triathlon either. Um, but just overall, I was able to, these mats, they're thick, and then it's on top of an even, another mat, and then they have like a false floor, and they really make these mats, or their mats, really soft, just to help prevent injuries or keep kids safe on the mats. And it was just wild. Like I said, I haven't been really in a room or doing much for, didn't do much for wrestling for about 20 years. And it was this weird like muscle memory that came back with kind of some of the things, like as far as the stance and the kind of the moving or the pacing back and forth, that kind of came back real quick. And but overall, uh I had a great time. I'm sore all over from doing it. But I was really happy I took my son with me and wrestled around with him, and he did great. Uh he did really good. Like, he was really engaged with it, and he was really interested in trying to kind of learn some of the different uh things we were doing. It kind of was nice because it was almost like he was getting like a one-on-one kind of uh lesson with it. But I mean, he has no comprehension of the sport at all. Like, I don't think he's ever like sat down and watched an entire wrestling match to see what the uh what the goal is. And so, like, when we're talking to him about things, he doesn't quite understand. But it was awesome to get out there and get to kind of roll around with him. My brother actually brought two of his two boys as well, and I really like playing with his boys as well because they're just like to be wild kids, and they're younger. And so we did uh do some wrestling. I ended up having two photos from the wrestling I was going to show here. The first one was actually me and my son uh wrestling. That's him. He's got me taken down. He's about to turn me over and pin me. He's definitely got to get his feet out a little bit more, though. He's definitely not in the best position. Um, and then the other photo was at the end of the day. Uh, this oh I uploaded this is the end of the day here. Me dying, trying to get up, asking Danny for a hand. Just laughed at me. That old man, you got to get yourself up. So so it was really fun to go and roll around on the wrestling mat again. I hope I get a chance to do it more. Uh, but it's not something that I'm gonna, do a lot of. And it makes me want to get and do yoga again. I keep saying that I'm gonna go do yoga, and I don't keep going and doing yoga, but I need to get more flexible. I think that that would have helped with the the tendon that tore in my arm, that tore in my bicep. I think if I had better flexibility, that wouldn't have been so tight. Um, and then it would be better for going up and doing the wrestling. Uh, the other things we had from the weekend, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the wrestling was really cool. Uh, I'm looking forward to doing it again, and I might try to get my son up to do more. Like I said, I got to get him and kind of show him what, even like, probably a bad thing. I haven't really shown him much about wrestling. We don't watch. It's just something we don't watch or do much with sports at the house. It's not something that has been part of our lives for whatever reason. Um, but I imagine it's going to be a little bit more. I do need to get out and work out more. I'm realizing that it'll help with the weight loss too. I didn't get into it much today. Maybe I'll talk about it tomorrow. But the I got to figure out what I'm doing with this, with the weight loss, and how fast I want to be losing the weight, or if I'm content with losing the weight at the speed I'm losing it at, what is attainable uh, as well. But I got to get out of here today. I got a lot going on this afternoon, so I can't stay on any longer. But I do appreciate you guys checking out my broadcast. If you haven't already, make sure that you do subscribe to my channel. Click on the bell icon so that you can get turn on the alerts so you'll get notified when I go live, which is generally 4 p.m. on weekdays. I planning on going live every day but Thursday this week. I don't think I'll be live Thursday this week, but I should be live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. Um, I have an Instagram account, which is at Fasting, and that is other hand way, Fasting, FAHSTING. There is a Discord. The link to that is down below. If you want to ask me questions on there, it's a great place to ask questions. We share some of our recipes and some other things, share different photos on the Discord. Um, there's also a link to a Pinterest account. That's where a lot of the meals that Carrie makes for us are linked on that Pinterest board. We've tried a lot of those and enjoy them. And if you guys haven't started a diet yet, get started right now. There's no reason to wait to get started. There's nothing coming up that's more important than your health. Started right now. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. I hope you all have a great evening.